So I just posted this conversation I found on Twitter about how people respond to certain types of poetry. The poem is about Macbeth and Lady Macbeth and their relationship, and it's, about the structure of language, and it was called Deeply Meaningful. And when I saw this tweet, I was like, Initially, I thought the poem was a bunch of twee nonsense, but I guess I didn't read it close enough, because it's decent, it's fine, it's kind of fun. But it's really the first sentence of the OP, the original tweet, that got me interested. Some people find something cringe, some people find it deeply meaningful. Like, what's meaningful, what's cringe, what is based and what is cringe? I mean, these are all relative terms, aren't they? But then I thought, okay, what do I find meaningful? Poetry-wise, I'm not really sure. I read some of my own poems, so I can post them on here. You can probably find them, actually. Then, when it comes to art forms, well, my favorite book is 1984, I guess, so that's too easy. There's plenty more I could choose from. Movie, Master and Commander, that's easy. Music, see, that's what's interesting. Because I can't stand romantic music. It enrages me. Everything's about love, and it's like, well, that's pretty big and complicated. That's biology, connection, all that, but it just never grabbed me. It never felt meaningful. But, like the Red Army Choir, all sorts of political music, those I find genuinely meaningful, because they're about meaning that's deeper than who's stuffing who. It's like ascending beyond biology. Well, is it really? Who knows? But being motivated by something more than physical pleasure, by some sort of meaning. That's probably what religion is to a lot of people. But, ideas are much more abstract than any sort of God is. More bounded, and yet less bounded, not by any physical form. I guess I'm rambling now, but I guess I need to ask, where, in what art forms, do you find meaning and why? Like, I have come to the conclusion that one of the most meaningful and revolutionary art forms out there is the historical strategy game. And I stand by this very strongly, that the historical strategy game, by its very nature, is the perfect tool for promoting empathy. Because you can choose who you play as. And that is a better way to achieve any sort of better world than like a kumbaya circle or like a UN discussion group. It is an actual route to empathy. Just by having fun, messing around. Hey, these guys thought this, these guys thought this, and here's why. That is why, ultimately, I am a realist. For moral reasons. Because the moralist almost can't see the bounds. They can't see why someone would justify being immoral. Why Macbeth would want to kill Duncan. Why Lady Macbeth would want to tell Macbeth to kill Duncan. And everything coming from that. Does this make sense? Is this all just yapping? It's probably just yapping. But considering that the first post garnered so much interest, maybe you guys might want to talk about this too. What do you find meaningful? And why? That is the biggest question, the core question of all aesthetics, whether it's poetry or music or movies or photography or painting or architecture or gaming. What do you find meaningful and why? That should be the goal of all college and high school, art and writing and English classes generally. What do you find meaningful and why? What do you not find meaningful and why? It's a big, bold, complicated question. And people might find it stupid and lame. Like, who cares? The meaning's already done for you. Just, look to God, or, look to whatever gets you the most money, or whatever makes you happy. What makes you happy? What makes you unhappy? Does your happiness matter? Do other people's happiness matter? All right, now I'm probably going into too many different crazy directions. But going back to the main point, I ask you, what do you find meaningful and why?